Still any comment at all?
Lauryn, will there be a Chapter 7 bankruptcy filing to follow up?
And Lauryn Hill is blaming the media for sensationalizing
her last canceled tours.
Canceled tours and missing shows.
The music industry is just a microcosm of the world. So whenever you stand for something and you stand for goodness and truth, you will always get resistance. That's period.
Killing me softly with his song, killing me softly.
Contrary to the opinions of others, I don't think I'm cool at all.
You know you better watch out.
Lauryn Hill was sitting pretty at the top, 5 Grammys, millions of albums flying off the shelves, and a cultural footprint so deep you couldn't erase it if you tried. But just like that, she vanished.
Wow. You know what? This is so amazing. I thank you, God. Thank you, Father, so much. This is crazy because this is hip-hop music.
Why did Lauryn Hill step back from the spotlight? Or was she pushed out? Some say she wasn't here for the same industry rituals that other artists just go along with. Others believe she got blacklisted for refusing to stay quiet.
Whenever you stand for truth and for the service, the service of others.
Why did Lauryn Hill step into the music game? See, Lauryn wasn't just a singer, she was a whole movement. She came up with the Fugees, and from the jump, that powerhouse voice and magnetic presence had folks hooked. But when she dropped The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, oh, it was over. She became legendary. That album shook the culture, blending hip-hop, R&B, and soul like nobody had ever done before. 5 Grammys later, and a spot on the best-selling albums list, yeah, Lauryn had officially changed the game.
I want to say thanks to God for honoring me with this huge responsibility.
Then, just like that, Lauryn was gone. No follow-up albums, no industry backing, just silence. And folks started talking. Was she losing it? Was she unstable? Or was she another victim of an industry that wanted her out? Lauryn Hill's rise to fame wasn't an accident. It was pure talent, passion, and an unshakable sense of who she was. From the jump, she was meant for greatness. Born May 26, 1975, in South Orange, New Jersey, Lauryn grew up surrounded by music. Her mama was an English teacher, and her daddy, a computer consultant who could sing, hitting notes at weddings and local events. Music was everywhere, shaping her love for everything from gospel to classic soul. She grew up vibing to legends like Aretha Franklin, Stevie Wonder, and Marvin Gaye, artists who put real emotion and deep storytelling into their music. Those influences molded Lauryn's style, letting her mix hip-hop, soul, and reggae in a way that felt new but undeniably real. Even as a kid, Lauryn was competitive, driven. She aced her classes, ran track, and even played the violin. But what really made her special? That voice. A voice so powerful, it would one day shake the whole world. Before the music industry got its hands on her, Lauryn dipped her toes into acting. She popped up on TV, landed a spot on As the World Turns, and even hit the Apollo Theater's amateur night at just 13 years old. But her biggest breakout role, playing Rita Louise Watson in Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit, 1993, a rebellious yet ridiculously talented student who had everybody feeling some type of way.
Joyful, joyful Lord, we adore.
Her performance in Sister Act 2 wasn't just about acting. Nah, it was bigger than that. The moment she opened her mouth and belted out that soul-stirring version of joyful, joyful, she had the whole audience shook. That voice, unmatched. Even Hollywood took notice. Acting offers started rolling in left and right, but Lauryn wasn't trying to be just another actress. Nah, sis had bigger dreams. She wanted to make music, her music, on her terms. And soon enough, she found her way into the music game through a group that would change everything, the Fugees. In the early 90s, Lauryn linked up with Wyclef Jean and Pras Michel, and together, they formed the Fugees. And let's be real, they weren't like nobody else at the time. They mixed hip-hop with Caribbean and soul influences, giving the industry something fresh and undeniably raw. Their first album, Blunted on Reality, 1994, didn't really make waves, but it set the stage for what was coming next. And then came The Score, 1996. That album, it changed the game.
Yeah, I'm the L, won't you pull it? Straight to the head with the speed of.
The Score wasn't just a hit, it was a phenomenon. The album sold over 22 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling hip-hop albums of all time. It snatched the Grammy for Best Rap Album, and its biggest hit, Killing Me Softly, sent Lauryn Hill straight into superstardom. That voice, it was hauntingly beautiful, effortlessly blending rap with soul in a way nobody had ever done on that level before. And let's be real, while Wyclef and Pras had their own talent, Lauryn was the magic. Her voice, her energy, that natural charisma, she was the one people couldn't take their eyes off of. She wasn't just a singer, she was a storyteller, a poet, a true artist in every sense of the word. And the industry? Oh, they were watching. But even at the peak of her success, Lauryn was different. See, most artists crave fame, validation, and awards. But Lauryn, she wasn't moved by all that. What really mattered to her was creative freedom. She had a deep spirituality and always spoke on the importance of staying true to yourself, refusing to lose herself to the industry's expectations. But that mindset? Oh, it was gonna put her at serious odds with the very system that once praised her. Lauryn Hill wasn't just talented. She was a young black woman in a male-dominated industry, and she refused to let anybody control her. She peeped early, how record labels played artists, how executives exploited young talent, and how the industry cared more about money than music. But Lauryn, she wasn't here just to make hits. She had a vision. She wanted to create timeless music, songs that uplifted and educated, not just entertained. But let's be real, the industry wasn't trying to hear that. A lot of people believe Lauryn's refusal to fall in line made her a target. She wasn't willing to play the industry's game, and slowly but surely, the industry started turning against her. While other artists followed whatever formula the labels laid out, Lauryn pushed back, insisting on doing things her way. And trust? That didn't sit right with the powers that be. And then there was Wyclef. Lauryn's time with the Fugees was already a whirlwind, but her relationship with Wyclef Jean? Oh, that was a whole other storm. At first, their connection was creative magic, but things got messy. See, Lauryn and Wyclef weren't just bandmates. They were involved. And in the beginning, that chemistry fueled their music. But as their relationship got more chaotic, so did the entire group dynamic.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen Lauryn, but this was a hot chick, you feel me? And I'm a hot dude, so we vibing, you know what I'm saying?
Now here's where things got real messy. Wyclef was married while he and Lauryn were involved, and that made everything 10 times more complicated. As their personal relationship started crumbling, the tension bled into everything. Recording sessions, live performances, even just being in the same room. Lauryn, who was growing into her own as an artist, started feeling trapped. Meanwhile, Wyclef later admitted that he struggled with jealousy as Lauryn's star started shining brighter. She wasn't just the female singer of the Fugees anymore. Nah, she was the main attraction. But their fallout wasn't just about feelings, it was about control. Lauryn wanted more say over her music, her vision, her art. But Wyclef had his own ambitions for the group, and that clash, it was getting too big to ignore. By the time the score became a massive success, everybody could see it. The group was barely holding on. Then came the final straw, Lauryn's pregnancy with Rohan Marley, son of the legendary Bob Marley. And let's just say, that sent Wyclef spiraling. He later claimed that at first, he thought the baby was his. And when he found out the truth, oh, he felt betrayed. That cut deep, making it damn near impossible for the group to stay together. Lauryn was young, ambitious, and unwilling to compromise. And suddenly, she was at a crossroads. Should she stay with the Fugees, where she had already found success? Or should she take a huge risk, go solo, and take full control of her music?
I think everything happens in time. You know, there's a time for everything. There's a time to be in a group, and there's a time to be solo. At least there was for me.
When Lauryn Hill decided to go solo, people doubted her. Could she really make it without the Fugees? Could she handle all that pressure on her own? The industry, and even some of her own peers, were skeptical. But Lauryn? Oh, she was ready to prove them all wrong. Then came 1998. She dropped her debut solo album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. And from the moment it hit, it was clear. This wasn't just an album, this was a cultural shift. With songs like Doo-Wop, That Thing, X Factor, and Everything is Everything, Lauryn masterfully blended hip-hop, R&B, soul, and reggae, creating something deeply personal yet universally relatable. The album was a smash. It debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 and went on to sell over 10 million copies in the US alone. Then came the history-making moment. Lauryn won 5 Grammys in one night, making her the first woman to ever do it. That night, she didn't just win, she cemented herself as the queen of hip-hop and R&B. But just as fast as she rose to the top, things started to fall apart. The same industry that had praised her, oh, they were about to turn on her. And soon, Lauryn would learn the hard way what happens when an artist refuses to be controlled. The music industry is ruthless. There's always a price for fame. And a lot of people believe Lauryn refused to pay that price. She spoke openly about how fame felt like a trap, how she just wanted to make music her way. But the industry, they weren't about to let her. The more Lauryn pushed back, the more the industry shut her out. And then, the lawsuit happened. See, in 1998, the miseducation of Lauryn Hill was being celebrated as a raw, deeply personal, and introspective masterpiece. It was presented to the world as Lauryn's unfiltered vision, straight from her heart, her experiences. But just as the album was reaching icon status, a lawsuit dropped that would shake the very foundation of her career. 4 musicians, Vada Nobles, Rasheem Pugh, Johari Newton, and Tejamold Newton, claimed that they were major contributors to the album, but were never properly credited or compensated. They alleged that Lauryn took full credit for the songwriting and production, even though their work played a significant role in the album's creation. But this lawsuit, it wasn't just about money. This became a public trial against Lauryn's integrity as an artist. The same industry that had once praised her genius suddenly started whispering, did she even write her own songs? The case dragged on for years, and by 2001, Lauryn settled for a reported $5 million, a staggering amount that only fueled more speculation about what really went down behind the scenes. But for a lot of people, this lawsuit wasn't just a legal battle, it was a hit job, a calculated attack on Lauryn Hill. And that settlement, it didn't clear her name, it just gave the industry more ammunition. Suddenly, the narrative shifted. Lauryn wasn't just brilliant anymore. Now she was being painted as difficult, ungrateful, and problematic.
And Lauryn Hill is blaming the media for sensationalizing
her last canceled tours.
Canceled tours and missing shows.
The media ran with the narrative that Lauryn was some ungrateful diva who turned her back on the very people that helped her shine. The same labels that once couldn't wait to work with her, suddenly distant. The same executives who hailed her as a musical genius, now whispering that she was unstable and hard to work with. Lauryn had challenged the system, and baby, the system fought back. This wasn't just about a lawsuit. Lauryn was battling an entire industry that had zero tolerance for independent thinkers, and her refusal to play by their rules, that made her public enemy #1. And let's be real, if she were a male artist, would the backlash have been this severe? Hip-hop was full of artists borrowing lyrics, beats, and ideas from collaborators without anyone batting an eye. But Lauryn, she was different. She was a black woman demanding full control over her own art, and the industry wasn't ready for that. Lauryn didn't just make music, she spoke out. She exposed how record labels exploited artists, trapped them in debt, and forced them to conform to industry standards. She was out here telling the truth, and for that, she was punished. The media pounced on the narrative that Lauryn was some difficult diva who turned her back on the very people that helped her rise. Labels that once lined up to work with her suddenly ghosted. The same execs who once called her a musical genius, now whispering that she was unstable and unreliable. Lauryn had challenged the system, and trust, the system was not about to let that slide. This wasn't just about a lawsuit. Lauryn was fighting an industry that had no love for artists who thought for themselves, and her refusal to fall in line, that made her a problem. And let's keep it real. If she were a man, would the backlash have been this bad? Hip-hop had plenty of artists borrowing lyrics, beats, and ideas from collaborators without anyone batting an eye. But Lauryn, she was a black woman who demanded control over her own work, and the industry was not ready for that. She didn't just make hits, she spoke out. She exposed how record labels exploited artists, trapped them in debt, and forced them to fit a mold. And for that, she was punished.
I'm not in the studio right now, and everybody in my world thinks I'm crazy. What's going on? You need another album out. The time is running out. You have a certain window to make music.
And then there was Brother Anthony, a mysterious and controversial figure. His role in Lauryn's life has been debated for years. Some saw him as a spiritual guide, someone who helped her navigate the chaos of fame. Others, they believed he was a manipulative force, pulling her away from the industry and deeper into isolation. Brother Anthony reportedly had a major influence on Lauryn's mindset. He introduced her to new spiritual philosophies, urging her to reject the demands of the industry and focus on her inner journey. Some of Lauryn's closest people at the time believed he opened her eyes to the deception of the music business, how it chews artists up and spits them out. But as Lauryn distanced herself from the industry, people started questioning just how much control Brother Anthony really had. Word spread that she was cutting ties with longtime friends, bandmates, and collaborators. She refused to work under any industry contract, called out record labels publicly, and became more and more reclusive. Folks started whispering, was Brother Anthony guiding her, or was he controlling her? Did he convince her that the entire industry was designed to enslave artists? Speculation aside, one thing was clear. Lauryn Hill was done playing by the rules. She wasn't the industry darling anymore, and while she was out there breaking free, another storm was quietly building, one that would ultimately bring her crashing down in the public eye. In 2012, the government came for their money. Lauryn was hit with tax evasion charges, accused of failing to pay taxes on more than $1.8 million in income from 2005 to 2007. Despite making millions, they claimed she deliberately avoided her taxes. And in 2013, the judge made it official, 3 months in prison.
Hill, any comment at all?
Lauryn, will there be a Chapter 7 bankruptcy filing to follow up?
Was this just another case of tax evasion? Or was Lauryn being targeted for refusing to fall in line? Lauryn herself believed it was bigger than money. She suggested her case was politically motivated, that once she distanced herself from the music industry, she became a threat to the system. In a public statement, she explained that she stepped away from the industry for her own safety and well-being, and now she was being punished for it. Her supporters, they weren't buying the tax evasion narrative either. To them, this wasn't about taxes. It was about silencing her. The industry had already blacklisted her. Now, they were coming for her money. How did Lauryn Hill go from being one of the highest paid artists of her time to facing jail time and financial ruin? And let's talk about the timing, because it raised some serious eyebrows. Plenty of celebrities have been caught up in tax scandals, but not all of them face this level of harsh punishment. Some big-name artists and actors settled similar cases without seeing the inside of a jail cell. But Lauryn, they threw the book at her. People started connecting the dots. Lauryn's case wasn't just about unpaid taxes. It was about breaking her spirit. Her imprisonment was a message, a warning about what happens when an artist rejects the system. She had already turned her back on record labels, refused to release music under contracts, and called out the industry's corruption. Lauryn had seen the truth behind fame and walked away. But the industry, they weren't done with her yet. Her financial struggles, legal battles, and media portrayal all worked together to tear down the legend she built. The narrative shifted. Lauryn went from being a musical genius to being called unstable, irresponsible, and difficult. Now that's a story. Lauryn Hill's journey isn't just about music, it's about power, control, and resistance. Some folks side-eyed her like, girl, why didn't you just pay the taxes and keep it moving? But others pointed out the real issue. How was a woman who sold millions of records struggling financially? Where did all that money go? Who really profited from her success? Her legal troubles pulled back the curtain on a cold truth. The music industry feeds off artists, keeps them financially vulnerable, and when they stop playing the game, they become expendable. Lauryn was no exception. Once she stopped making them money, she became an easy target. Looking at Lauryn Hill's story, you gotta ask, was this just a series of unfortunate events, or was it an orchestrated takedown? First, they came for her credibility with that lawsuit, questioning her artistic genius. Then, the industry turned its back on her because she wouldn't follow their script. And finally, the government came knocking, hitting her with a prison sentence and financial ruin. So, was Lauryn really to blame for her downfall? Or was she being punished for refusing to be controlled either way? The industry did what it does best: chew up talent, spit them out, and turn them into cautionary tales. But don't get it twisted. Lauryn's story wasn't over. The industry might have tried to erase her, but her impact was too big to ignore. Even after the drama, lawsuits, and media smear campaigns, Lauryn never truly disappeared. She's popped up for performances, released music here and there, but one thing remains true: she will never play their game. Lauryn Hill's story isn't about a fall from grace. It's about standing your ground. They tried to silence her, but her influence is everywhere. They blacklisted her because she wouldn't follow their rules.